This is a real. You hear the little ice? This is a real Bloody Mary because I feel like the haters out there would say, "I just you put Bloody Mary mix in a little glass with some ice and there's no vodka in there." I thought about that because I was like, yeah, this is pretty early, but if it didn't have vodka in here, it'd be a little bit darker. Like, it wouldn't. So this is a real Bloody Mary.
It's noon your time, so I feel like it's not too early.
I was watching the Mayo Bowl.
Okay.
And do you like mayo? We've talked about this last year.
First of all, I dumped it on my head.
I know, but like...
I do like mayonnaise. I don't eat it that much, but I do like mayonnaise.
So, okay, this is where I was before the pod started. I'm watching this, and there's this man sitting in the stands with a giant spoon. Were you watching the game at all?
Yes.
And that's repulsive to me. Not like, it's not him doing something hilarious, but the mayo. So say I was announcing this game, and like Golick, and they did like the shenanigans in the booth last year with the mayo, I couldn't do it. In fact, I think it would be a controversy because I would try and like virally vomit. I would. Barf. And Dukes would not like that. I don't think.
That's hilarious. I would be able to do it because I'm like gross when it comes to food. Like there's nothing that I don't like. Like there's very few things that I won't eat.
I like the theme of it. I like the whole vibe of this bowl game.
Yeah.
I just don't like mayo.
Wait a minute. We need to actually start with this. By the way, welcome into No Puns Allowed with Paige and Kramer. We are...
Cheers.
It's the holidays. I'm sorry for the delay on episode. We have had mass chaos. I've been sick. Lots of things going on.
Yes.
But the Cheez-It Bowl. We need to talk about this.
Yes.
Cheez-It came out and said, it's not Cheez-Its. It's either Cheez-It, if you're referring to one, or Cheez-It crackers.
It's horseshit.
It annoys me so much. I don't know why. I was like irrationally upset about this. Why does it? Why? I call them Cheez-Its in general. I don't call it Cheez-It. I say Cheez-Its.
So, whoever came up with this, though, brilliant marketing.
Yes.
By them. Brilliant marketing. Because, like, the whole timeline had thoughts on this thing. Like, people were enraged. I didn't see anyone, like, thank God. It's like GIF versus GIF, except, like, people will go on both sides. It is GIF.
God, what do you say?
I say GIF.
It's GIF. GIF is a peanut butter.
Whoo! Thought we were going to...
That was... bad things were going to get heated. Thought it was going to go back to Christmas movies. We were just... It was going to be bad.
God. Oh, boy.
But
it is Cheez-Its.
It is Cheez-Its, and that's a pod stance. It is Cheez-Its, and we're boycotting Cheez-It crackers. Not to eat, but just into saying it like that.
Okay, I have another Cheez-It question. Have you had the well-done Cheez-Its? They're like extra... No. It's like they're like baked a little bit longer. They're almost not burnt. I don't know.
Do they have that like fake brown on them like they are though?
No, I think they're real brown. Like I think they're actually well done. I don't know what they call it.
Okay.
But the kids are liking these. And I'm on the fence. I do like Cheez-Its though.
I bet you the person that came up with the Cheez-It versus Cheez-It cracker also came up with the commercial that's I'm feeling the cheesiest coach, because that is by far one of the catchiest commercials, and I don't get sick of it ever. Like I've seen it a million times, and I love it, and I say it along with that commercial every time. So you know what, Cheez-It marketing, you're doing it right, and you're welcome. I said Cheez-It.
Cheez-It, yeah, it's
Cheez-Its.
It's Cheez-Its. By the way, shout out to Municipal and you wearing the gear today. I am sporting playoff team Horned Frogs. You are Team Municipal. We are all
I'm Team Municipal today, and we're gonna hopefully I get some different colors in this sweatshirt. I'm actually going to text AJ after this because I like this one a lot. The cropped.
It's really nice.
I know you're a big fan of the cropped. Yeah, this sweatshirt is super nice. They gave me a shirt, by the way, that I
almost just split Bloody Mary all over my computer. That was such a subtle...
laugh, I'm going to call.
I'm sorry. That was such a subtle...
Dig. It just happens so naturally these days.
Sorry.
But we will talk more bull stuff, but we should get into... Yes, also, we should get into... signing day, things that happened that we've missed in this long break that we have taken. Alabama has the #1 recruiting class in the country. Are we shocked? Like,
no.
Water's wet. The sky is blue.
Saban has been telling y'all for 2 years, fuck around and find out, right? Now, it's not shocking to me But it is interesting, and the timing for Alabama is really good because it does feel like, I don't know, Alabama's not bad by any means, but it feels like you've got two of their best players ever that are leaving right now.
Yeah.
You're going to need that roster to develop and step up. This certainly helps, right? So in this world of NIL, just, here's the other thing I was thinking on the page. Beyond Alabama being number one, so you've got NIL, you've got transfer portal. Is it really all that different than what it was? Not
no,
all.
people need
Does
to stop
it look
complaining.
that different? Like, what's changed?
Are
The
you
best
as annoyed
players
as
go to the
I am
best
about
schools?
people in our sport complaining? Like, that covered this sport for a living. Like,
Oh yes, that is annoying.
do you cover this sport for free? No, you get paid to do it. So what is the issue with, like, it's like, oh, I'm not upset about kids getting paid. I'm just mad that people are buying players to go other places. How do you think that these dominant schools got good? Just because people were like,
Where
oh,
have
you
you
know
been?
what got good? Jeez, is that even English? I'm getting like very passionate about this. But like,
But-
how do you think that these schools who were like some of the most historically relevant college football programs ended up being really good? You think that people just went there for the school spirit? They didn't go there to play school. I just don't understand.
Cardell.
Yeah, why people
My guy.
are so upset and complaining. Like, I am so tired of the complaining. This is what the sport is now. It's changing. Change sucks sometimes. Cool. Yeah, is it out of control? Or are things happening that probably are annoying and obnoxious? Yeah, but again, like we talked about this on the last pod, it's not changing the, like, play on the field. And,
No.
like, the game is not changing. They're not saying, okay, you have to go for two every single time, and that's all we're going to do. We're not going to play a full football game. Like, come on. Realistically speaking, it's mass chaos, and yeah, it's probably frustrating for a lot of coaches, but you figure it out. You adapt and you figure it out. Like, that's it's annoying to me that people are complaining still.
Let's do a game. Here's the
Okay.
top
I love
10
games.
recruiting classes for
Mhm.
24/7 sports. Not even a game. It's just going to be me reading teams. So this is the top 10 2023 rankings. Now, this is not done. There's still some good players to commit, but these
Yeah, until
classes
February.
largely done with signing day.
Mhm.
Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Miami, Oklahoma, Ohio State, LSU, Notre Dame, Tennessee, Clemson. Okay? Now, I would say the things that feel NIL-ish in this top 10 would be maybe Miami, or definitely Miami, maybe Oklahoma, and maybe Texas. Although, I don't know. Texas is on its way back.
I feel like
Like,
Oklahoma
let's go
would be
to
it. I wouldn't even say
2020.
Miami because, I mean, you've got Mario Cristobal, who's actually a pretty good recruiter. So it obviously is a factor
Well,
in all of these.
Here is what year is this? This is 2020. So going back 3 years.
Okay.
Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, LSU, Ohio State, Texas A&M, Auburn, Texas, Florida, Michigan, and then you have Tennessee, Oklahoma right there. It's the same shit.
It's literally the same thing.
It's the same shit. It's just more open now. Like,
And-
so
And Texas
I get
A&M,
it.
like they have all the money in the world, and clearly it hasn't worked out when you bring in a number one recruiting class and pay them.
I think it will. at
They're
some
like
point,
that's the part that people are forgetting is that like coaches still have to coach these guys.
for sure.
And
Yeah,
people are
that's
like,
why
"Oh, is this
it's-
the end of Alabama?" I'm like, "You guys, I love that you want to play that game, but no." Because sure, they had the number one recruiting class, but you have to perform, and it's been proven that Nick Saban can do that. So guys are still going there. There was obviously Jimbo had a great recruiting class, didn't perform well, so people understand that it was bought and they weren't coached up. So yeah,
Look at Miami.
Alabama's not going anywhere.
Look at Miami. I mean, Miami, like, definitely injecting that program with money.
Mhm.
You hope that this is going to help turn it around.
Yeah.
Who knows if it is? But that's the way it is.
But-
like, that's.
But also, like, Miami in its heyday, like, there was money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's always been money. It's just, it feels like an emphasis on it now. So
Yeah.
I'm with you. I don't know. Like, it's such a fun time of the year for the sport. I don't have the
Yes.
bandwidth to be mad about shit right now.
I'm mad about it because I feel like people are taking away from how fun it can actually be. And I feel like we even said it on the pod last week that, like, the December 28th games were going to be the start of, like, real fun in bowl season. And sure enough, it has been absolutely excellent. But one more point I wanted to make about the NIL situation was that Deion Sanders' son was named by Fox a Heisman favorite for next year.
That's... You trying to trigger me?
I just don't understand. Like, this is the downfall of... This is the part about NIL I don't like. Is that, like, the flashiness, the fact that you can buy stuff and players... That's giving them credibility to be a Heisman contender? No.
Okay.
No.
I got mad online the other night talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
Where would you have Sanders in the Pac-12? Right? So you've got Caleb, for sure. Yeah. You've got DJ, for sure, in my opinion. I know DJ is not a finished product, but I'll take him. Yeah. Cam Rising.
Yep.
I think I had him 6th. Bo Nix for sure, higher. Right? I mean, no doubt.
I was gonna let you say that one.
No. I'm not even gonna go down the Bo Nix hype train. Like, you're gonna obviously rank Bo Nix higher because Oregon's gonna be a much better team. So I think he's a good quarterback, Penix, by the way, and I think it's awesome for Colorado. Penix for sure. Yeah. So there's 5 right there. And that's before we, Chip Kelly's
before we dive deep into the roster. Like, that's
yeah. Like,
that's before that's Colorado, like, strictly quarterbacks really... and not even diving into other skill players. Like,
so I was mad online about that, but I'm not going to let myself do that.
It's frustrating. That's what's giving it a bad name.
I'm glad you brought it up because it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, and I think that's the one thing that I could say that's where it's, like, too far. But, like, to be complaining that, like, the sport is changing is really stupid. Just leave it at that. It's changing, adapt or die.
And go watch something else. If you really do feel that strongly about it.
It's turning into the NFL. I don't know if you saw the numbers, but the NFL's Christmas Day numbers destroyed the NBA numbers. Destroyed. So you know what? If it's turning into the NFL,
like, 5x, 4x.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I love nostalgia, okay? I think nostalgia, when utilized right,
but it's still there.
Is very potent. But, like, it doesn't mean we have to hang on to how things were. Like, it changes. The world evolves. Saturdays are still pretty damn sacred. I would like to rant about one thing related to this, and it gets into the Liberty Bowl and the bowl games that we've been watching.
Yes.
Targeting. Okay? So... that Arkansas game was I ultimately bet Arkansas -1.5. And buddy, I went through that. Like, holy shit, did I go through that? So it was a great ride and horrible. I felt terrible afterwards. Like, I had to walk outside. I was so stressed. So in that game, it looks like Arkansas is going to win. Awesome football game.
Most people turn that game off.
Because it was 25-point lead in the 3rd or 4th quarter.
Yep.
And they call targeting. So it wasn't called targeting on the field. They reviewed it and called targeting. The play was strange. Ball carrier's like falling backwards.
Yeah.
Defender comes in. His head, he's not, I don't know. It wasn't like spearing, but his head is forward. I thought his head went to the side. It didn't feel like a targeting call to me. And then they called it targeting then in the review, and then yesterday the SEC overruled it and said it wasn't targeting, and that he's not suspended for the first half. That's the other fucked up thing about this. So the player, and I don't know what it was, would have been suspended for the first half of the first game of the season next year. Okay, I am for player safety. I am for player safety. I have written I don't know how many words for Bleacher Report over the years about targeting. Yellow cards and red cards and how to handle it. It is getting to a broken point. No targeting, yes targeting, no targeting sandwich in a day is... What are we doing, Paige? Like, what... We cannot go on like this. It cannot go on like this at all.
Yeah. No, it was like a deciding factor of the game. Like, that could have potentially had Arkansas lose, which luckily... Liberty and justice for Arkansas. but it
Oh,
was
wow. Nice.
Thank you. I've been working on that since the day of the game. So, it honestly, what an exciting game. Besides that, the comeback from
Oh my God.
Kansas,
Wonderful game.
excellent. But we do have to talk about. Also, very happy for Sam Pittman. We do have to talk about the fact that you said that Oregon would beat UNC by 13 points, and I told you no, they wouldn't. And by the way, doink of the bowl season was winning by a point on a doink in.
What a great doink.
Woo, that was woo. That was
a great doink.
Stressful.
Yeah,
but
I will say, if you're in Arizona, you know what's weird, Paige? If you're an Arizona State fan, you got to feel really good because Oregon, without their offensive coordinator, looked very broken. And there was a lot of, I think Arizona State may have gotten a really good play caller.
Yeah.
And that was my first thought is oh boy, got to reevaluate my Oregon stock a little bit. So yes, I did lose.
You did lose.
I lost. I mean, that game, Oregon was never going to cover that game, by the way, ever.
No.
So we do need to figure out a punishment. And I believe we should do it in person at the National Championship.
At the National Championship. I think because we've had this one on there for a while, I think it's going to be a TikTok for you. So, definitely.
All right, I'll start stretching.
Yeah, start stretching.
I will get ready. That was a bad bet. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna
make hammies loose.
Yeah, I'm gonna have you do a TikTok dance, I think. And then I'm also gonna force you to make TikToks while we're in LA anyway. So, but yeah, I was that game was actually pretty good. Drake May, by the way, with a bomb at the end of it. I thought Hail Mary could have happened.
God damn. I get why teams would offer him $5 million.
Which they said was false, awesome. But I mean, false.
Yeah. I'm sure people.
I would not turn this down.
Could you imagine him at Alabama?
Oh my God. I mean, but here's the thing. I don't know that I would be big enough. I'm 30 years old. I don't think I'd be strong enough to be no, I'm not going to take the $5 million. Well, it depends on the team. If this was $5 million from Northeastern,
I'm
Canada
sure,
West,
by the
I
way,
wouldn't
go. North Carolina has stepped up. I mean,
also, North
he ain't
Carolina,
doing this out of the goodness of his heart.
Yeah, but also North Carolina is amazing. I don't know if you've ever been to that campus, but
it is. Yeah, it's nice.
It's beautiful and 10 out of 10 would recommend. Also, the best BLT I ever had was there in Chapel Hill.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Good BLT is
there's
interesting.
It's funny, the best sandwich I ever had was in Boston. It's at a place called Parrish. Legitimately the best sandwich I've had in my entire life. Shout out to my coworker Lucky who told me about it. And then the second best sandwich I've ever had is from that place in Chapel Hill. It was a BLT. It was so good.
I do have another bowl observation, which was seeing Luke Fickell on the sidelines for Wisconsin was really, really fucking weird.
Yeah.
And not bad.
Yes.
He looked, I don't think he was actually coaching, but he certainly looked like he was coaching. And even the halftime interview, he's like, just gonna play hard here. But we've seen this before, Sonny Dykes, I guess, did it. But it was so strange, just flip of a switch, put on a new cap. The colors are kind of similar. He looks pretty much the same. Yeah. And but I think it's smart. The more I've thought about this, it's going to be awkward and weird, but it's going to make things moving forward so much less awkward and weird for him. And you're going to get so much out of that experience.
Speaking of this, I saw that people were commenting on players who have decided to transfer playing in their bowl games for the teams that they are played for this year. I think it was the quarterback from what? Yes, thank you.
Coastal.
Yeah, for me, it's why wouldn't those guys play for their team and finish out the year? I understand if you're the other school and maybe you don't want them to get hurt or something like that, but again, it's football. Everybody gets hurt. That happens. You know what I mean? So I genuinely think that I have no issue with coaches going to coach new teams or coaching their old team until the end of the year. I have no issue with, usually the coaches don't stay, but I have no issue with players staying and playing final games with their people that they've played with for years,
No.
and finishing out their commitment. I have no issue with that. But I thought it was just so weird that, like, someone on the internet, like, died on that hill of, like, I can't believe they're playing in their bowl. I'm like, what? Now we're just making stuff up
Nick
to get angry
Saban talked
about
this morning. Yeah, Nick Saban talked about it, and he said he invited all the players that were transferring to play. I don't believe they did, but he wanted them to play. And it wasn't weird. He was just like, yeah, we put it out there, and we just didn't get... it's an awkward time for everybody.
Yeah.
Just let people handle it how they want to handle it. By the way, that McCall is going to be really interesting to see where he goes, because he's good. He's really good. It was a shame he got hurt in that game.
I'm kind of curious if we get like an off-season type, not in the summer, but like a dead period of like 2 weeks or 3 weeks for maybe players and coaches to like not have to, like, they can't leave their team or whatever. You can't make the move until after. I'm curious if they make that rule of like, if you're transferring, you have to wait until this date to join the team because of that.
I believe there is a cutoff. I think no,
I mean like for example, you said Saban said that they could come play in their bowl game.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So you're
I'm saying like maybe there's like a cutoff of like you can't leave, but then they can't do that to the kids because they're not going to do that to coaches. So I guess not. But I was just spitballing there. The sport is going to change.
Your deadlines would.
It's just.
I see what you're saying though. The deadlines would basically make your mind up for you on those.
Yeah.
Like you could put in those deadlines like that. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, I think a lot's going to change timeline wise over the next couple of years. Yeah. Without question.
Well, obviously, we're going to have a really busy December. That actually does change things too, because the playoffs are going to be expanded. So we're going to have like more young men playing for kids playing for playoff teams and in playoff games.
Do we want to talk about Lane Kiffin?
Yes. Oh my God. What are you doing? Stop going for it. Stop going for it on fourth. Stop it. Right now.
He went for it for a first down on like his own 10. And he got it, right? But like, what the fuck?
I'm just like curious what his mindset was going into this game. Maybe it was like, didn't he sign an extension with Ole Miss?
Yeah.
After the Auburn stuff. And maybe it was just like a F it. Let's see what happens. I don't know, but it was odd.
Well, this was not I know Lane got paid. This was not a great close to the year by Lane. I'm trying to pull up their schedule right now.
No.
It was bad. So let's see what Lane did. They finished 8-5. He lost 4 out of the last 5 games. Their only win was a 3-point win over Texas A&M. They lost to LSU by a lot. They lost to Alabama by a little. Arkansas by a lot. Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. And then, they lost 5 of their last 6 games, including Texas Tech. And that game was never close.
No.
I really like Lane, but boy, oh boy, I think he negotiated himself a good deal here at the right time.
Perfect timing.
Hopefully the check is clearing and cashed because it's going to be tough for them still. Honestly, it's going to be tough. They have some really good young players still. It's hard playing in that league. I wonder what their schedule looks like next year. Let's pull that up. Just for shits. Why not?
Just for shits and gigs.
But it was weird. It like you're right. It felt like he just did not care.
Yeah, it was weird.
So they play Mercer. They play at Tulane. That's a fun game.
That's actually a really
Georgia
fun game.
Tech. Here you go. Here's a stretch that's not great. At Alabama, LSU, Arkansas. I'm sure Arkansas' schedule is as normal, horrible. At Auburn, Vanderbilt, A&M, at Georgia, ULM, at Mississippi State. That's not that fun. It's not horrible, but it's not that fun. I don't know what was going on with Lane, but it wasn't good.
No, it was not pretty.
Tech, so it's fine. Okay. Do we want to now? Any other bowl thoughts? Fucking, I got one. I'm pissed off. Minnesota bet them and didn't cover. It was a fucking bullshit. They fumbled. Did you see that? And there's 12 men on the field. Oh, so
yikes!
I had to take an Uber yesterday amid my madness of going around. I was without a car, and I get in the Uber, okay, and I had just seen Minnesota lose on my phone, and I'm like, motherfucker, I'm pissed off. And it's like this super old Italian guy, and he's like, yeah, come on in, and I see he answers a phone call on speaker, which was odd, and it's another super old Italian guy calling me. He goes, Freddie, did you see that fucking Minnesota score? He goes, God damn them. And we're all three ended up talking about the Minnesota game in a random Uber.
I love that his name was Freddie.
Freddie.
This sounds like the Home Alone thing. You got 2 minutes. You're ugly, yellow.
It was like property. Classic. It was like, and I'm like,
was your Uber driver's name Snakes?
Snakes? I don't know. No, Snakes. It was hilarious though, because everybody was just on tilt. Me, my Uber driver, and this random guy calling him. So I was pissed off about that, but I do love bowl season. All right.
I will say shout out the Bad Boy Mowers DJ.
Oh my God. There are not enough bowl games. All right, so we are filming this late this week. Yes. But so we're going to leave alone the Friday games. We're going to go right into Saturday. We will leave and then do Monday, and then we'll end with the playoffs. So this is a fun one to start with. Sugar Bowl, Alabama versus Kansas State.
I don't know the line.
You don't know the lines. I'm pulling up the updated odds.
I would guess that Alabama is favored.
They are.
Is Alabama favored by more than a touchdown?
It wasn't. Let me pull it up. It's a tough question to answer now. Because it is
7.
It is 7.
6?
Yes.
7.
It's 7. Okay. No, it's right on the nose. So
7.
This line's been really interesting. It was 2.5 because everyone thought that Bryce and Will Anderson weren't going to play. And then it went to 6.5 and now it's 7. Now I have a question about this game. Are Bryce and Will going to play the whole game? Or are they going to preseason football this thing?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I would think that Bryce would play until they were up by a decent amount.
Before we came on today, I was watching the Mayo Bowl. Maryland, Talia did not start, and the backup did, and then he came in on the second drive, which is just strange. He's thinking about going to the NFL. So I'm wondering in this game, I like Kansas State in this game. I do. I think Kansas State's actually pretty good. Beyond questioning Alabama's motivation, I think I don't know how good Alabama is.
Texas didn't look very good. I think it's mainly their motivation, but I think they've all been so our guys are coming to play, rah rah. We care about this. Although I did think it was funny that Nick was Nick, he's my friend, so I can call him that. Was Nikki. Yeah, Nikki. I got Nikki Saban. I wonder if anyone's ever called him Nikki in his life. Now I want to know. I'll ask Kristen later. But I love that he said that he was less lights around us this time around because they're not in the playoff. It's less people care. But I think that Alabama is going to prove a point that they still care about this game, if that makes sense. So I think we'll see a determined Alabama team, to be honest.
So you like Alabama -7?
No. I would think it's going to be close just because Kansas State is good.
I actually agree with you that Alabama wins. Kansas State keeps it close.
Yep.
All right, so Kansas State
look at us.
+7. All right, I'm so glad. It is so funny that we get to talk about this next game, which is the TransPerfect Music City Bowl, featuring the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Kentucky Wildcats. I fucking such a terrible football game. It's so bad. And they played last year.
What's the total on this game?
31. All right. So, and here's some background. Both starting quarterbacks are out. I think Iowa's starting a freshman. Kentucky, Levis isn't playing. Kentucky is down wide receivers, so is Iowa. Not that matters.
Yeah, as long as your defense is good, you can win, I guess.
So the total is 31. Do you know what this line is?
Is Kentucky favored?
No.
What?
And I say that unironically.
Is it Iowa -3?
2.5. Look, man.
I just don't like betting against the Stoops in a bowl game because I feel like they win games they're not supposed to.
I feel like if you take the under here, you're going to feel good about life. 31 points. I mean, I know that's a fucking cartoonishly low over-under.
Yeah.
I don't care. I think the unders are play here.
What's Iowa's record on the under this year? Because they're usually their total is pretty low in general.
It's nice. You're saying that nicer than you could be saying it, and I appreciate that. They're efficient with their points.
Hey, too bad you can't use your new quarterback.
I know. And then we'd score 12 points. Okay, so the under, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 and 4 Iowa was with unders this year.
And they were like mostly in the 30s, right?
Oh yeah. I mean Iowa didn't.
Wow.
And then
okay,
Kentucky,
well, history.
This is interesting, by the way. Kentucky, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Last 8 games. Wow. Kentucky's hit unders in 11 of 12 games this year.
All right, we can take the under.
Let's roll under.
Let's roll under.
I love that you have Alabama, blank, playoff game. Alabama, Iowa, playoff. Like, this is if you're going to a gourmet restaurant and you, like, get a really nice French onion soup, and then they served you, like, a fucking Tootsie Roll, and then you had steak, and then you had some sort of delicious dessert. That is what the bowl lineup is tomorrow.
That is.
Like,
so are we gonna skip playoff games and go to the January 2nd
we'll
games?
do playoff games at the end. All right, Jan 2nd. So it's kind of a weird day. So we got first one, the ReliaQuest Bowl, Mississippi State versus Illinois, and obviously it's just weird to even think about, but
yeah,
that is our game. Where's the line? Oh shit, that's right. You can't DraftKings. The fact that Illinois lines aren't up because it's a college.
Oh, do you want me to look?
No, I got it. There we go. All right, I'm there. So, what do you think this line is? It's tight. It is tight.
Is Illinois favored by 2.5?
It's Mississippi State -1.5. Now, I think that flipped with some opt-outs on Illinois' side. Okay. So I don't know, man. I don't know how. First off, shout out to Mike Leach. I did a video. I told you this earlier for BR betting on this game, and I bet the over because shout out to Mike Leach. I am just curious to see what you've seen coaches throughout the bowl season with their tributes to Mike Leach, Dana Holgerson, others wearing like the Swing Your Sword, or state shirts, which is cool. It's gonna be an odd one. Over here, I don't want to go too game heavy. Like here, it's like,
what's the total?
It's 46. Pretty low.
For Illinois, though?
I mean, they're not very good.
Yeah.
It's Mike Leach, though. Gotta go over.
Okay, fine. We'll do it for Leach.
That's all the breakdown this game gets. Okay. Goodyear Cotton Bowl. All these names are very easy, by the way, to pronounce today.
No, because they've been the sponsors for years.
Thank God. Tulane versus USC at Jerry's World. What do you think?
Is the line USC -6.5?
It's -2. So, does that not say that Caleb Williams is not going to play?
He said he was.
I know, but we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, I guess you.
They've made it. I'll say that you're right though. They've made it sound like that he wants to play. This is from
So maybe
3
he
days
plays
ago.
like the first drive or two. I don't think
here's
the USC
the other thing,
loses
though.
this game.
I kind of like Tulane.
I know. I knew you were going to say that.
I know. I'm trying to find... Caleb Williams, despite being less than 100% healthy with his hamstring, has stated that he wants to play. He isn't content to opt out.
Who's their backup?
I have no idea. Hold on. I should know this as like someone who covers the game, but like,
I mean, I don't.
According to USCJepchart.com, let's see, what is it?
Watch it be someone we're like, oh, duh.
Oh, it probably is. But where? Miller Moss, redshirt freshman.
I was just going to say, I feel like he's a freshman.
If we want to go our separate ways on this, that's fine. I think Tulane is good. That's where regardless, like after watching USC miss 8,000 fucking tackles.
Yeah, they're the highest ranked group of 5 team, right?
This
Because
is actually a supremely fun football game because it is a.
You know what?
The 2 points tells me Caleb Williams is not playing. I'm sorry. It had to have been higher than that.
I mean, I don't think he should play, to be honest with you. But
No.
I'll roll with Tulane with you. We got to stick together.
Let's stick together.
It's not 13 points against UNC.
No, that cost me. Okay, Cheez-It's Citrus Bowl, like that.
Citrus Bowl.
LSU versus Purdue. What an odd football game. And did you see with what's his name, the LSU wide receiver?
Yeah.
Opt in, opt out. College football, man. It is wild right now. So the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, what do you think the line is? Holy shit. That's a big number.
Yeah, I was going to say, is LSU favored by like 14?
14 and a half. Well done. Total is 56.
I'll take Purdue.
I could get down with Purdue. I also kind of like the over.
What's the total again?
56. We could ride with Purdue, though.
You know I do overs, but let's do overs.
Do overs. Well done.
Boom, boom. A lot of bad dad jokes on this episode. Let's roll with Purdue plus 14 and a half.
Real quick,
Yes.
You know what I hate about bowl season? I've mentioned this before. The how is your conference doing narrative. Like, SEC sucks, Big 12 sucks, which
Pac-12's the best.
The SEC does kind of suck. The Pac-12, the only thing I am reading consistently, like, how much fun is the Pac-12 going to be next year? Which it absolutely will be. But it is funny to, like, just the SEC sucks narrative is just exhausting.
Did you see that the Pac-12 commissioner said that they would sell information to help with gambling?
That's smart. Well, I know he's a company guy.
Yeah. But, what do you mean by that?
So, it's like you partner with a data company.
Okay.
Well, so here's how I would understand it. And the one thing that drives me crazy that college football needs, this is like a rant show. We have these like once a month.
No, but this is good, I think, for us to understand. We're all learning together. We learned about Gales before, which, by the way, I had a notification on my car that said there were Gale wins. And I was like, what? I'd never heard that before.
Of all the episodes we've done, the Gale part seems to be impacting listeners the most. Yes. So I've been bit by this a lot this year. Mm-hmm. Injury transparency in college football is not very good. There were multiple games this year where like all of a sudden you go to bet and like KJ Jefferson is out. It's like, what? What do you mean he's out?
Yeah.
Like, so like the NFL has done a really good job of this, like legitimizing it, like injury reports and other things. So I think statistical data, gambling data, like statistical data that you could infer to like make decisions, and also injuries
a PFF situation
needs to to be better. Because it was bad this year, and these coaches are like, well, we'll see where he plays. Like, you can't do this shit anymore. Like, there's too much money being bounced around now where it's like, Lincoln Riley or whomever being coy about this. Like, enough is enough.
Well, I think too, like, haven't there been a lot of like sports books that have like given money back if like somebody gets seriously injured or is out and it's told late?
Yeah. Yeah, the gambling
that's a tricky game to
does
play.
Not they don't love this because like it happened with like Devin Booker, I know, when he got hurt. And they were like, any in-game Devin Booker part, like, so it's doing it a lot, which is a little bit of a slip. I'm with you. It's like a slippery slope, right? Like, when do you? It's all it is for the sportsbook. It's good marketing. It's a good marketing ploy. Like, here's some money back. But then like if you look at the mentions and like I don't know, a player gets hurt, and they don't refund it, people get pissed off. So it's weird. Sorry, not to tangent it. Let's talk Rose Bowl.
No. I was just curious about like what that even meant.
I think, and I haven't read about it, but I think it's smart. And he came from MGM, right?
Yeah.
So he comes from like a casino operation standpoint. I hope they can do this to like educate.
But like, how do you do that when like a lot of your schools are in a state that doesn't allow gambling?
Well, even still, you can compile the data, and the interest is so national that even though your states don't have it, all you're doing is distributing statistics.
Stupid state. I know.
I'm sorry.
Just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to be out the national championship. I mean,
I'd make your bets before.
But that won't be a problem. But yes. Okay, Rose Bowl. One of the best, like one of my favorite watching experiences. This is going to sound like a dumb question, by the way. Is the national championship at the Rose Bowl or is it at SoFi?
No, it's at SoFi.
Kind of wish it was at the Rose Bowl.
I mean, I'm excited to go to SoFi. It looks sick.
Me too. It looks sick. Wish it was at the Rose Bowl.
But
so in any event, Rose Bowl.
I always joke that I won't go to the Rose Bowl until
Penn
Arizona
State.
makes a Rose Bowl.
Oh boy. Hey, you're closer than you were a year ago. You're closer than you were.
That's not going to happen. I'm going to go before, I'm sure, but.
No. All right. So Utah, Penn State. Short line.
Utah is probably favored by 3.
2. Total is 52.5. Opt-outs, kind of a big deal in this. Kincaid for Utah, the tight end who's really good, is out.
Good.
Tavian Thomas
so
is out.
Good.
And Penn State is Joey Porter Jr., who's also really good at corner, is out. I kind of like Penn State. I feel like we haven't talked about them all year. It's funny. I think about them. I laugh because when you and I did the playoff show, we like didn't talk about them at all, except we talk about how we're not talking about them.
Yeah.
But I don't know on this game. I could be talked into it either way if you have a strong opinion.
I have to go with Penn State, and here's why. My stepdad turned 60 on January 2nd. He has been a Penn State fan for his whole life.
Wow.
So I feel like the juju is in the favor of Penn State to win on his 60th birthday.
So on his 60th birthday, they're playing in a Rose Bowl.
Yes.
They cannot lose.
Yes, they can't lose.
The Chi gods are with us. I like that a lot. I think
that's what we're going to roll with. This is how I gamble. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, how many
it's your vibe gambling.
What's their record against it? What's the record for their unders? And then I'm like, you know what? No reason, rhyme or reason, just positive birthday vibes.
Vibes are good. Okay, so let's talk playoffs. Which one do you want to start with? Let's start TCU, Michigan.
Yes.
Do you know the spread in this game?
No.
Okay.
Michigan by 7.5.
Perfect. Nailed it. Over under is 58. The line has been up to 8. 7.5, 8, somewhere in there. So I don't know. Where do you want to start? First off, where do you stand on this betting wise? We can break it down a little bit.
I kind of like TCU in the sense that, like, I do think they can keep this close.
So I'm battling back and forth on this game. The comparison I use, though, when Michigan played Georgia last year, it was clear within like the first, 8 minutes that Michigan was not of the same caliber as Georgia. And I just wonder if that's going to happen in this game to TCU. Now, TCU has some of those dudes, and they have one at quarterback in Duggan, who's could make this game, and they have them at wide receiver where they're exceptional. But I also wonder, I did some math. The average recruiting classes for Michigan over the last 4 years, it's like the average of 10th in the country. For TCU, it's 40th. That may not translate to a lot of people, but the difference in player is sizable across the roster. And the part I'd worry about for TCU is probably the offensive line holding up. That's not to get two X's and O's, but that's where I struggle with this game. But Duggan is so fucking good that he could do his thing and make some magic. Yeah, it's a struggle there.
Especially against Michigan, who they're not known for holding big leads unless it's against your rival. You know what I mean? So
for sure,
I feel like they could hang around. But I mean, to your point, I remember going to a Stanford game and being on the field at a Stanford Cal game, and then going to the national championship and seeing Clemson and LSU players, and I was like, oh my God, the difference in physical, it was just ridiculous. It was very, very noticeable just by looking at them on the field. So I understand that point, but I do think that 7.5 is a lot of points for Michigan. I feel like Michigan ultimately wins, but I think TCU can cover.
I'm going to see what this line does before the game. The other really interesting thing about this, Donovan Edwards for Michigan, the running back, when Corum went out, it felt like doom. He has actually been better and more explosive than Corum, which is kind of insane. Yeah. And it's only over a 2-game sample size, but the other part of this is JJ McCarthy. The first half against Ohio State, he looked bad and then turned it on. So I'm really interested to see what that does.
I think the big thing is going to be the TCU defense, because the TCU offense is going to get theirs. But if you can hold Michigan offensively, then it'll be a game.
All right, we don't have to agree on this one. I kind of like Michigan.
Okay, I'll take TCU.
I like Michigan. You like TCU. Yeah, for cover, playoff games, yes. All right, Ohio State versus Georgia.
I hate this game so much already. I love it. I'm excited to watch it, but betting on this makes me so nervous.
I realized I'm going to be writing probably as the new year turns. I was just thinking about that this morning. Whatever, man. I would probably seems appropriate and fitting.
What do you think?
What do you think the line is?
The line is going to be Georgia by, I think, is it -7? Is that big? -6. Okay. I knew it was going to be bigger than 3.
62.5. I like Ohio State a lot.
I do too, and I don't want to, because here's the thing. I feel like this year here's another rant. I feel like this year we've done too much, and we've been overthinking the fact that Georgia's good. We were really high on Tennessee. We wanted Alabama. We were waiting and waiting and waiting for Alabama to turn it back on because we weren't going to go against it. And now I feel like we're in a situation where with Ohio State, they looked bad against Michigan. So
they looked bad.
But then again, the reason I can get behind them is because they've got nothing to lose.
I agree. I think that Georgia gave up 500 yards of passing in the SEC championship game. Mm-hmm. Now, they were up the whole time, so it's a little bit of a jaded stat. But the area of Georgia's weakness, they have a good cornerback in Ringo, is a secondary. And this is an Ohio State team. Really, it boils down to this. If they can protect Stroud and keep him upright, I think Ohio State's going to win. I hate to simplify that much, but I really think that is crucial. I think people are going to overreact to a really bad half of football against Michigan. And part of that really bad half was a stupid-ass coaching decision by Ryan Day, where he fucked it up and didn't go for it, and he punted. And then you had like 2 huge broken runs that made it really lopsided. So sometimes we look at those things in like a vacuum, and we just say, oh, Ohio State sucks. Now, I also have some future bets on Ohio State, so I am inherently biased on this.
But I like Ohio State. I still think talent-wise, like, I think Georgia's offensive line is going to be, like, they give Stetson so much time to do his thing. So that makes me a little nervous, and I just don't know that Ohio State can compete with that. But
that's another really good point, by the way. Like,
I want to pick Ohio State really badly, but it makes me nervous about the fact that, like, I don't know that Ohio State's defense can get through to Stetson. Like, if you put pressure on him, he's going to throw it into windows where it's going to get intercepted because he makes some risky. It's funny to watch because, like, what?
I love this. The Stetson. Your Stetson. I like this. I'm in. Go.
Well, it's just like funny because if you watch like the throws he makes when he's under pressure.
Yeah.
Like, he's lucky sometimes that those don't get picked off. And, like, if you're, I don't know. Oh, gosh. I think we have to go with Ohio State.
I think Ohio State's going to win this game. I think Ohio State's going to win this game.
Hold on, just a second. So, before, who would you say, I'm not trying to, like, start, like, a controversy here. But I just want to ask you this. If you had to pick the most annoying fan base in college football, in terms of like just obnoxiousness, no one can get offended. Ohio State. Okay, you would say Ohio State. So a couple years ago, I would have said Ohio State too. Now I'm very much on the Georgia fans are the most obnoxious fans in college football.
Well, the barking at you, like at the national championship, I think put you over the edge last year. The barking.
Yes, it did. I already didn't care for them in general. The barking at me for no reason, very strange. Also the fact that you won one in 40 years and then think that you're better than Bama and a dynasty. So I digress though. I feel like if we get Ohio State beats Georgia, goes to the national championship, beats Michigan, Ohio State fans are going to be unbearable for years to come.
Oh yeah,
years to come. And like part of me is okay with it because the storyline of all of that is great because it'd be like a couple, like, what was it? At the end of November, everyone was calling for Ryan Day's job, essentially. Not everyone. A lot of people were overreacting and being like, is Ryan Day really it here? Is Ryan Day really it?
Not that he is the godfather of all things opinions, but did you see Urban Meyer's opinion on Ryan Day? He's like, he's won 45 games, lost 5. Like, are we serious about this? Like,
yeah.
And so my beef with Ohio State fans is like, there is this entitlement for a sector of the fan base that it does not feel like it's been earned at all. Like, if you're Alabama,
it's been earned.
You could be entitled.
Yes.
If you're Georgia at this point, you've made a couple of natties. You've cracked the playoff a few times.
Fair. Yeah.
You could be a little entitled. You just won one. Like,
yeah. Ohio State.
Ohio State, like, I do not get it.
This is your time to earn it.
Like, and so
I actually really like Ryan Day.
It is a great matchup in that regard. I do too. I think I think that's a horrible, like, I can't think of a worse position. He had an interesting comment too, even like they signed a quarterback from like Wyoming or something. Montana, and like he made a comment like not every quarterback wants to play here because the pressure and everything, the expectations are insane. And I don't know, it rubbed people kind of the wrong way. I actually think that's getting kind of appropriate for the coach and the player. Like CJ Stroud had an amazing 2 years. And I think to a lot of people, maybe you can't say he's a disappointment yet.
They said he's had a down year, but it's like he had like 3 less touchdowns this year?
40 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Like, yeah, it's nuts. So if they lose, first and foremost, Ohio State, Michigan would be one of the oddest, weirdest national championships in the history of sports, period. It would be just so strange.
Yeah.
Like, where else are you going to get that? Oh, it is. I really want it. I really want it. Like, for that hate to flow through Los Angeles. Like, it's just strange. Like, the whole thing just sounds odd. So, and it would be very selfishly for you and I, it's good for business. So let's be real here. It would be very good for business. So I'm excited. I'm very excited for both of these games. I think Ohio State's going to win.
Okay, so we're going with Ohio State. Wow. You're going against your team from last year. You did win your future bet last year, which was Georgia. So maybe they need to roll with that. Let's do an update. One more thing before we skip on to this. The updated point spreads and you don't have to guess these. We went through them, but I like looking at them. So updated national championship point spreads. These are going to change, by the way, if they have injuries. But Georgia -7.5 over Michigan. That feels big. That feels large. Georgia -15.5 over TCU. Ohio State -3 versus Michigan. And Ohio State -10.5 versus TCU. So those are the potential championship point spreads. I love that Ohio State's favored.
Ohio State, I know. It's going to blow people's mind, too. It's the same thing. Like, people are going to look at a half of football and be like, oh, my God. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes it does. I mean, look at the SEC championship game, then the playoff game last year. Georgia got their ass kicked by Alabama. And then Georgia did the thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the way it works out sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
We'll
roll with it. We're rolling with Ohio State.
All right. Any other random chicanery?
No.
I don't have much.
I don't have much either. If you're sick, stay at home. Please don't get other people sick.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Yeah, thanks. Nothing crazy.
I'm excited.
Any big New Year's plans besides cover college football? I hate New Year's Eve. I'm going to have
these TVs. I've always hated New Year's Eve.
I think it's the worst.
Which is actually why I kind of like working.
Me too.
On it.
I love the excuse, sorry, I have to work. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to be in a place where I have to get home after drinking. I don't want to. I'd rather stay home and drink and watch football.
I will pour myself a couple of glasses of wine watching that game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, me. I can write through anything. Just very calm in the basement. But yeah, so the game starts at 7, right? So I'm hoping to be done by 5. New Year's Eve. I don't really care though. I've been one of the first years I've told this story. I told it to you, getting served champagne.
Yeah.
In the media room, and it was it was so strange. And a random reporter next to me in the press box, he's like, "Happy New Year, man." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Oh fuck, yeah, that's right."
That's the most Kramer thing I've ever heard. Stranger. Also, I do have to say, my brother when I say, "Oh, I was on the phone with Kramer," I'd be like, "Cramebone." So he calls you Cramebone now.
See, it sits. I got a text message during this pod from somebody who said "bone," asking me about a pick for later in the day. Got to get gambling. We got five games as the day we record this. We got 5 games. We got the Mayo Bowl, and we leave in 1 week.
I know. Oh my God. I didn't even.
That's
realize
slightly
it was
terrifying.
Exactly a week. Hopefully our flights are good.
Dude, I cannot.
Had flight canceled this week. Very weird. Just.
Here's my last, folks. A lot of people already do this. Be nice to people in customer service.
Oh my God.
They're not canceling your flight. I know it's horrible, the travel stuff, and in general, you think they want to be delivering shit news to you?
No, and also it's people. It's also not they're also being basically screwed over by Southwest too. Those employees should not be working the hours they're working and doing the things they're doing, but some of them are being really kind to those who are misplaced during this time, and it's really tough. But yeah, the videos of people screaming at the people at the desks just makes me want to crawl in a hole because it's terrible. Don't yell at people.
Be nice to people.
It
can be hard in the most frustrating moments. It can be very hard. You want to lash out at somebody. It's I get it, but these ain't the people. Goddamn,
that's
Southwest.
A great point.
Jesus,
get it together.
Get it together. I'm sorry. It sucks. I'm sorry to everybody. People, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. People are driving 20 hours just to
Yeah, I'm glad
Holy
that
crap.
my flight was like a very frivolous type of trip. It wasn't like I was going to see my family for Christmas type of deal, so having a canceled flight wasn't terrible. But what was funny is my return flight was also canceled. So it was like that flight was
Jeez.
canceled there, and then the return one a few days later was
Were you
also it
flying
was only a day later.
Southwest?
Yeah, because
Man.
LA and because Oakland to LA is like nothing. It's like boop.
Oh, man.
Which is so nice because normally I have to travel and make pit stops in different places or go to the San Francisco airport to fly direct to where we usually have to go.
Yeah,
So I'm
championship
glad
is
this
just
year.
like a little
Hop, skipping away,
yeah.
hop, skipping a jump away.
Not me. I got a
Do you have a connecting flight?
No, I got a direct.
Direct.
Thank God.
I think you and David Kenyon are on the same flight.
I think we are, which will be good. So I get in at a reasonable hour. Yeah, we should talk pod plans too. So we will do a normal, whatever is normal, pod next week.
Yeah, we'll do a Thursday episode next week.
And then we're off to the title game on Friday. And we got media days Saturday. Fuck, man. It's a lot. Fun.
It's
back at
a lot. Yeah. Back at it.
I look forward to it though. So, all right. Well, we are going to go enjoy the games, and rest up and get ourselves in playing shape for the home
playoff
stretch.
mode.
That's the sad. It's so weird seeing so few games left. That's the only part that is like, damn it, it's hard to do. But I am excited. I hope everybody enjoys the games. Have a wonderful, safe New Year's.
Yeah, safe, please. Don't drink and drive.
Real quick, Champagne, your thoughts? Are you pro or?
Oh, I love champagne.
Pro champagne?
Champagne doesn't totally love me, but I love champagne.
No, same here.
But if I do champagne, I have to stay with champagne.
It gives me a crippling hangover. It's like my kryptonite. I do like it though, but like no champagne tomorrow. Like no, yeah, exactly.
I'll have champagne maybe to end the night, to toast the night, but other than that, we're good.
That's exactly it. Like a little half glass of like. Yeah, one of those. Okay, well with that, cheers. We'll talk to you guys next week.